If, hypothetically speaking, Mr. Mohandas Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India after 1947, what would India be like in that period? Would Mohandas Gandhi have adopted violence, violent means, if someone would have attacked India in the 1950s? See, Mohandas Gandhi was against having an army. Mr. Nehru was also against having an army. He wanted to disband the army. So, Mr. Gandhi, see, here's what Mr. Gandhi wanted for India. Mr. Gandhi did not believe in democracy, FYI. Mr. Gandhi, as you know, he opposed the democratic election of Sardar Patel to the Prime Ministership of India. He arm twisted and forced the Congress party to instead select Mr. Nehru. So he sabotaged the democratic process, right? That is a prime example of that. And Mr. Gandhi did not ever believe in democracy. So the kind of system that Mr. Gandhi wanted for India after independence is called Gandhian trusteeship. So according to Mr. Gandhi, what he wanted was that wealthy people should be trustees of trusts that looked after the welfare of the people of India who should remain in poverty. So he did not want industrialization in India. He did not want any big industries. He wanted Indians to spin khadi every day, earn a few pesas, and just have enough money to be able to eat 2 meals a day. That is Mr. Gandhi's vision for India. That was Mr. Gandhi's vision for India. He was a povertarian and he was not against wealth. He wanted the industrialists and the wealthy people to be the trustees. So they should have all the wealth, they should retain all the wealth. You can look this up online. I'm not making this up. The Gandhian trusteeship model, it's available everywhere. It's part of the so-called Gandhian philosophy. Okay. So he wanted all the industrialists and rich people to remain rich, but they should donate their money, a significant portion of the money, to look after the welfare of India's people who should remain in poverty. And of course, all these wealthy people should be controlled by Mr. Gandhi, which is how he was able to afford the lifestyle that he lived during India's so-called freedom struggle. You know what Sarojini Naidu said about Gandhi, right? She said that it costs us a fortune to keep Mr. Gandhi in poverty. So what Mr. Gandhi would do is he would travel everywhere in the country by train in the third class compartment. But he would have the whole compartment emptied. He would be the only person in the third class compartment. And there would be another compartment which would be reserved for his attendants, his secretaries, his servants, his other people, his entire entourage. That would also be third class, but it would be reserved only for them. So every time Mr. Gandhi went anywhere, there would be 2 or 3 compartments reserved only for him, but he would travel in third class. So the newspapers and everybody, the media, the press would say that Mr. Gandhi always travels third class. They would not mention the circumstances in which he traveled third class. So all this cost a great deal of money. And that's why Sarojini Naidu said, she has stated this, that it costs us a fortune to keep Mr. Gandhi in poverty. Right? And who funded all this? Who funded all of Mr. Gandhi's travels? Who funded everything Mr. Gandhi did? Who funded Mr. Gandhi's stay in South Africa for so many years in great luxury, FYI? And especially after he came back to India, who funded all his activities? It was all funded by various industrialists. Mr. Gandhi was basically, he controlled all the unions. So if any industrialist would refuse him money, or refuse to fund the freedom struggle, which is a better way of putting it, then his union, his laborers, workers would go on strike and his entire business would come to a halt. So please understand what power means. Mr. Gandhi understood power and he fooled the entire country and the media of the time. All whitewashed what he was doing. Isn't it eerily reminiscent of what's happening today? So that is Mr. Gandhi. So if Mr. Gandhi never wanted to become prime minister. He believed in the trusteeship model, which means leadership, not leadership. It means rule by proxy. You appoint a prime minister, but the prime minister will be controlled by you because you actually have all the power. You are the real source of power. You can dismiss a prime minister anytime you want. So if he had not been assassinated, he would have continued to rule India in that manner via Mr. Nehru or via somebody else. That is his trusteeship model. Unfortunately, India has adopted this model today. Today, you have chief ministers who are appointed by somewhere else. Isn't it? You have these political parties in which somebody has all the power, but they appoint somebody else as a chief minister. and the chief minister is merely a figurehead or a puppet. And you have even seen that with the Prime Minister of India. So this is all the legacy of Mr. Mohandas Gandhi. So that's the deal. Would he have adopted violence if somebody attacked India? No, he would have given out more pieces of India's land. Oh, come Pakistan, take the rest of Kashmir, take some part of Punjab as well. If China wanted some parts of UP, etc., he would have given it away. That is Mr. Gandhi.